What if the thing that's slowly draining your life is something you think is protecting you? Worry. You call it responsibility. You call it planning. You call it being realistic. But what if anxiety is not strength? What if it's disbelief? And what if thousands of years ago, someone exposed the illusion of control in just a few sentences? Even if you don't believe in the Bible, stay with me. Because today, on 3 Biblical Dots, we're uncovering 3 truths about anxiety, provision, and control that challenge the way modern society lives. And the third point might completely redefine what you're chasing right now. This is 3 Biblical Dots, where there are always 3 points hidden in plain sight. Point 1. You are more valuable than you think. Matthew chapter 6, verses 25 through 30. The text begins with a command that sounds unrealistic. Do not worry about your life. Not about food, not about clothing, not about survival. That sounds irresponsible until you understand the logic behind it. Jesus points to nature. Birds. They don't store food in barns. They don't control the economy. They don't secure the future, yet they survive. Then he says something radical. Are you not much more valuable than they? Pause there. This is not poetry. This is identity. The first point of 3 Biblical Dots. Anxiety begins when you forget your value. If God sustains ecosystems, weather systems, oceans, forests, what makes you think he overlooked you? And then comes the deeper layer. You are not just sustained, you are desired. Another passage says, if you who are imperfect know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father give good things? Not leftovers, good things. Provision is not reluctant, it is intentional. Even your dreams matter. Let that sink in. But here's the tension. If that's true, why do we still worry? Because we crave control. And that leads to the second point. Worry adds nothing. Matthew chapter 27. One verse, sharp, direct. Can any of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? The implied answer, no. Worry feels productive, but it produces nothing. Second point of 3 Biblical Dots. Anxiety is effort without outcome. Think about it. You replay conversations, you imagine worst-case scenarios, you anticipate failure. But does it change the result? No. In fact, science now confirms what this ancient text already stated. Chronic anxiety shortens life. The verse says you can't extend your life by worrying. Modern research shows you might reduce it. And here's the uncomfortable truth. We worry because we think we are responsible for outcomes. But the text shifts responsibility. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Translation: live in today, not in imagined tomorrows. Most suffering happens in the future that never arrives. You suffer twice, once in imagination, once in reality. And sometimes the imagined version is worse. But then comes the third point, and this is where the entire chapter pivots. Point 3. What you seek controls you. The passage closes with priority. Seek first the kingdom of God, not second, not after stability, not after success, first. And then comes the promise. All these things will be added to you. Food, clothing, provision, added, not chased. Then verse 34, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. This is psychological. Your heart follows your focus. If your treasure is money, your heart is restless. If your treasure is status, your heart is insecure. If your treasure is control, your heart is anxious. Third point of 3 Biblical Dots. What you prioritize determines your peace. When the kingdom becomes first, anxiety loses space. Helping others,
growing spiritually, living with purpose. When your focus shifts upward, fear shrinks. This is not passive living, it is reordered living. And here is the viral truth hidden in this passage. Most people are anxious not because they lack resources, but because they lack alignment. They're chasing what was never meant to carry their security. And the text makes a bold claim. If you seek the right thing first, everything else finds its place. Maybe your anxiety is not about money. Maybe it's about your future, your family, your identity, your worth. But this chapter leaves you with 3 undeniable dots. You are more valuable than you think. Worry adds nothing to your life, and what you seek determines your peace. Then the solution isn't more control, it's reordered trust. Even if you struggle with belief, ask yourself, what has worry actually given you? And what could change if you shifted your pursuit? If this message challenged you, maybe that wasn't random. Here on 3 Biblical Dots, we uncover 3 truths that expose fear and restore perspective. In the next video, we'll talk about why comparison silently destroys gratitude and how it fuels anxiety more than you realize. You don't want to miss that. Subscribe so you don't miss the next 3 dots. And if you stayed until the end, comment one word: seek. Because peace doesn't begin when everything is stable. It begins when your priorities change.